Hey, what's up, everybody? So, futures just turned green. Everything is green. The Dow is green, NASDAQ is green. So, let's talk about something real quick, just psychology. All right. People were selling Tesla and they were selling it at 850. They didn't want Tesla. Oh, take my Tesla stock, take my Tesla stock. At 950 or 938 this morning, what are they doing? Oh, I can't get enough of Tesla. I want Tesla. So, something doesn't make sense. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about the SPY and the markets real quick. But first, a quick summary. So the Olympics are starting in 3 days, right? China has a zero tolerance policy, meaning I just saw a story. It's the Chinese New Year today, February 1st, the year of the tiger, right? Factories closed for about 3 weeks. But I saw this grandfather in one of these towns, right? His kids were coming on the train. They show up at the train station and they are stopped by authorities, told to go back. Now you go to Chinese drugstores, right? You buy any medicine. You have a fever, you have a cough. They report it, okay? Then there's interaction. You get into a cab, an Uber, a Didi. You have to scan a barcode. Anytime you enter a store, scan your code so they can trace you, which is great. Zero tolerance. What do you think that's doing to the economy? Yet Chinese economy was going up. So, I mean, my theory is Chinese government pushing the Chinese economy up. Next, Russia is moving troops to the Chernobyl zone, right? Which is like kind of like an off-limits zone. There's not real radioactivity there. They say it's safe up until like 500 yards of Chernobyl. But what does that mean? It is the closest route to get to the capital of Kiev. That's it. The closest. They're moving 100,000 troops. What is that telling you? Now, is these war exercises? So I heard another theory that they're going to go march in through Minsk as well, which is the neighbor to the north. So, I mean, two-pronged attack. They're doing operations with the people of Belarus in next week, and they've used that as an excuse before when they took the peninsula years ago. They did the same thing. They called it an operation, then they went in before anybody knew it. All right, so that's what I'm saying about world news. Okay, you got China, you have Russia, Ukraine, right? You have us talking about the 10-year, which I haven't spoken about. So the 10-year currently, which was as high as what? 170, 180, then was 174. It kind of looks like it's going to bounce back to 180 later in the week, making things more expensive. And then you look at the dollar, which again, I mentioned yesterday was 97.22, right? 97.22. Now it's $1 less, a whole percent less, which is why you've seen the markets go up for the past 2 days. What else is happening in the market the past 2 days? What I believe is short covering. So we saw the market and we saw stocks go and give up what? 20 to 40% within like 2 weeks of January. So what did they just gain back? Well, I looked at a bunch of stocks that I follow, and so far they've gained back about 20%. So then we're poised with the question, and yes, I will show you the SPY and tell you how we're going to make money today. But we're poised with the question saying, is the true valuation, does that make sense where it is now? Because they short sold or the market, so it gave up 40%. Okay, oversold. I get it. I get the bounce on Friday, all right? I get the bounce yesterday, although I wasn't the biggest fan of the bounce because how could market conditions change from one day to the next so quickly? And you know what? The Fed, where they said they're going to raise interest rates in the March meeting, they didn't say if it's 25 basis points or 50 basis points. They let everybody believe it's 25 basis points, but they could easily swap it out and be like, oh, we're going to actually raise it 50 basis points. We're behind the curve, which is what I would do if I was the Fed chairman. In fact, I would have raised rates probably in November. Okay, so let's look at the SPY and try and figure out the SPY pattern, because I'm telling you, pre-market is strong. So let me see if I can pull up the SPY. Let me see, share the screen. I'm getting much quicker at this. Boom, there's the SPY. Let's just bring it down. We are closed basically at 450 yesterday. Let's bring it here. I got the, let's bring up the 1 month. All right, so we can take a look at it. All right, so here's the 1 month chart up here. So I'm going to go first. We had some interest here on the 24th, 25th, which makes sense. And I always tell you, when something's going to turn around, it's never just a U, complete U. What it does is it turns, then it gets worse, and then it recovers. So actually, the markets make more sense to me now looking at this. I mean, I'm a little upset that they've moved it so fast in 2 days. But yeah, so they're trying to say it's a buy here. They're buying the dip. Volume was low here. They sold it off. Again, volume's not crazy high. So what are we going to expect on the SPY? Well, first, let me tell you what's going to determine the market before I tell you what's going to happen in the SPY. Let me just see if I can get myself a little bigger. Boom. All right. So before I talk about the SPY, let's determine what's going to happen in the market. So earnings are coming out for, we have Google earnings coming out, and then we have Facebook, also known as Meta earnings coming out tomorrow. So with Google, they're going to look at the cloud business. They're going to look at YouTube. All right, these are the two important factors that are going to factor into Google, right? And then you also, do you have Amazon? I believe Amazon's got to be right around the corner as well. But for Facebook, they're going to look at the metaverse. They're going to look at ad sales. They're going to look at user growth, okay? Similar when it was Netflix, it was always user growth, acquisition. So that's what's going to control the market, okay? So you have all the outside factors, China, Russia, okay? Then you have certain cold fronts coming in. I wouldn't worry too much about energy in the US, but energy overseas. Now here's here's the Russia thing, right? So Russia supplies Germany with 50% of its energy. Germany's part of NATO. Let's say Russia invades Ukraine and it's a quick movement and it happens within a day or two and it's done. Very little bloodshed. That's probably the truth. Ukraine will probably surrender. Then NATO gets involved and the UN get involved. And Germany's obviously part of that. But Germany needs their energy from Russia. So there's not much backing that Germany could do to support the United Nations and the US and all of our allies and things like that. And I don't think Biden, he knows. I mean, it's like when we put an embargo on Cuba, right? Did it shut down Cuba? No, it made them angrier at us. So, I mean, you have China, who's better friends with Russia. We were okay with Russia. Now we're not at all. I mean, we're out here. We've got Canada and Mexico. So that's a little alarming what's going on there. Okay, so let's go back to the SPY. Let's blow it up a little bigger now. Let the SPY take control. Nope, I got rid of the SPY altogether. Boom, there it is. Oh, look how small I am. Okay, excellent. So let's break down the SPY into a 5-day range, because what you can see here is just massive buying end of day, continued into massive buying end of day here. However, they were happy to sell. So I'm actually thinking this is probably a point we're going to come back to, 441, 442. So if we look at the 1-day chart, I expect, even if the market opens strong, which I guess it's going to open strong because it's showing you green, but I do expect a morning pullback. So here's how we're going to make money today, okay? Market opens within 15 minutes, probably that's 10 minutes. If I am correct, you'll see a peak and then a quick dip. If that's correct, nothing goes straight down or up. So if the markets, let's get me on the full screen here. Boom. All right, so the market's open. SPY opens 452.5. It's going to drop quickly. It has to drop, okay? If nothing's going to go straight up. If the market goes higher, 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 then I'll just admit I'm wrong about today. I miscalled the market. If it starts here and goes higher, and then at 10 o'clock it goes higher and 10:30, then please, I'm just going to zone out today because I disagree, okay? So I'm actually looking for the market to show you what it's showing you right now, which is it went from minus 150 futures to minus 80 to green futures. It's probably flat now. Tech's probably up. I would watch the 10-year. I would watch the US dollar. If you see a spike before open or at open or 10 minutes into open, I would be weary, okay? If the SPY spikes up, and I would say a good spike would probably be 453 and change, I might take my first put position. Again, I'm looking for a confirmation, which would be a drop somewhere between 9:50 and 10:14 in the morning, probably closer to 9:50, a drop. And then it'll quickly bounce. People will be like, oh, buying the dip, buying the dip. And then I'm looking for a second drop. So if I see that confirmed second drop, let's say around 10:14 to 10:20 a.m., then I believe the markets will consolidate and go down today. All right. So again, that's the bearish sentiment. I just want to, again, mention it to you guys, how I'm looking at it, okay? I'm expecting the spike at open because that's what futures are telling me. the 10-year, the US dollar. But again, I'm waiting for the first dip. If it's just minor, then that's probably a bullish sign. The first dip should be exactly what it made it open. So if it spiked to $3 on the SPY, I'm expecting, like a $2 dip, something significant, like over 50% back. If it's not, then that's a bullish sign. It means they're just buying the dip quicker. So that's what I'm seeing in the market today. Now, I'm just going to bring up some of my watch list because we're doing it a little different this morning. Hey, just want to say, yeah, that's awesome. Appreciate that, man. So yeah, if you look, there are certain stocks. Okay, so if you think that this market is done selling, okay, you think it is over, and the Olympics start in 2 days, and the Olympics are usually like a joyous time, and the markets tend to go up. It's crazy. I did this study back years ago, but I would look at stocks like Qualcomm, right? That's number one on my watch list. I have no position right now, but if you look at the large scale buys in the past, let's say 5 to 7 days, they're pretty intense. So even when the market was selling off, they are acquiring Qualcomm. And Qualcomm has so many revenue sources. They have the 5G, and they have just so many. I won't talk about it. A stock that might be overpriced if the market gets turns on it, right? Because I like to play both sides. Silvergate Capital, SI. Now, it was as low as like $89. Now it's up to $117 pre-market, which is crazy. And they've been buying it, but volume's extremely light. They came out with news that they're buying some blockchain assets. But who puts a real valuation on that? So they come out with news and the stock's up 10%. And remember, this was a short report not too long ago. So short reports usually carry a little more weight and steam. So again, if this one goes above, like it's at, where is it in pre-market? 117. So if it pops to 121 at open SI, I will take a short position. Why? Because I think the market's already inflated enough. I know that this stock still has some bears on it. And again, all they did is acquire some blockchain assets. Who has the real valuation? And until that's discovered, usually these pops come down. So it's up 9% pre-market. Again, if it pops a little more and I get in, and then it goes down to just 4% on the day, which would be 113. If I got in at 121 on the put side, it goes down to 113. I'm killing it. All right. So other options to look at. Oh God, Affirm, AFRM. Affirm's been up, and it's one of those stocks that gave away probably like 40 or 50%. And then since it touched the bottom, which I believe was $49, it's now $64, up 2% pre-market. So it's actually like $65. Then you have Roblox. If you watched my video before on Roblox that I did with my daughter, my data analytics person, right? We said Roblox was at 69, and I said it can go down to 63. And then 63, I actually did another video, and I said it can go down to like sub 60. Sub 60, I would be buying. Now, did I buy when it went to 55? I did not. Did I buy at 58? I did not. So in 2 days, Roblox went up like 14% and then 13%. So that's 27%. And another 3.7% this morning. So you're telling me 3 days ago, Roblox was worth $54. And this morning, it's worth $67. It's worth 31% more, right? Am I crazy? What has changed in 4 days that makes Roblox 31% more attractive? Or is it just short covering? I get it with some stocks. So let's go to Dow stocks, right? If the Dow is going to be strong, again, I like Ford at $30. I liked it at $30 when it was $12. When it was 12, I said 21 by like May, and then it hit $20. I was like, wow, that was quick. And then it went to 25. And at 25, a bunch of people on our platform were buying puts. It went down to 20, even 19 and change. So yeah, I think there's demand there. Now, same theory. Let's look at Netflix, okay? And then we'll take a couple of questions. I haven't done questions in a while. Just like two, Carlos. We'll see. I haven't done it in a while. But Netflix, right? People were shitting on Netflix. It went down from 4.25, 4.14 to 3.45. At 3.45, it looked attractive to me. Okay. Then it was 3.71, 3.88. Then you have who was the gentleman? Oh God, I wish I remembered his name. Big time investor. I think he bought like 3 million shares of it. Great, congratulations. It just pushed up from 388. Now Netflix is 427, pre-market 433. So again, you could have bought Netflix at sub 350. Now it's 430. That's 80 points. That's like 28%, 29%. Is Netflix still attractive right now? Because if you think the market's going to go higher, you're going to say yes. So what's your price target on Netflix that was just 350, 345? What, 470? What's it going to do that in 3 weeks? Then what do? Then you sell it? So as I mentioned today, for just my strategy, I already mentioned I'm looking to buy a put or two on the SPY. I will give myself until Friday. Now, why? Because let me bring up the SPY one more time. Let's just see if I could do that. Okay, perfect. Let me bring up the SPY. Let's go for the 1 month chart. Okay, so volumes light, got heavier. Now, the SPY hasn't run more than 2 inflow days in a row, but let's say today is an inflow day. Let's say the market goes up today and I'm incorrect and I enter into 2 puts in the SPY and I'm down like 50% going into tomorrow, right? Tomorrow being Wednesday, my options expire Friday. My question is, if we get 3 inflow days and today's an inflow day, what are the chances we have 4 in a row? And if we have 4 in a row, what's 5 in a row? So I don't think so. It's almost like flipping a coin, right? And I'm not telling you to flip a coin when you invest, but what I'm saying is flip a coin, tails. Flip a coin, tails. All right, I'll double my bet. Flip a coin, tails. Okay, I'll double my bet. Well, one time it's going to come up heads because they're all in different situations. So again, I'm not telling you to gamble. I'm just saying have strategy. So my strategy is 2 put options, expire Friday. If I'm correct about it and the market does give back, or something happens in the Ukraine, or something happens in China, or the US dollar goes up, or the 10-year goes up, or someone leaks Fed something that 50 basis points. All right, and lastly, but not least, Bill Ackerman. Yes, Bill Ackerman, very smart. I mean, he what hedge fund? I forget what he had. It was a hedge fund that he did SPACs. Thank you so much for that comment. Let's talk about Bitcoin real quick because people are seeing Bitcoin spike. So the same chart I just showed you on the SPY, right? Oh, I have it up. You can't see it. So the same chart that I just showed you on the SPY, where there's some buying here and it might have bottomed, and then it turns around and it sells again before you get the second uptick. I expect you're going to see that in Bitcoin. Meaning, what I think you're seeing right now is the first reversal, which would be like here and here. Like there's some interest. There's some ground floor. It's pushing Bitcoin to 38, 39,000. And then I think we'll have a couple of days of selling. So I think it'll go from 39,000, back to 36.5, 37. And then the next time it runs, and I was telling Carlos this the other day, the next time it runs, I think it's going to explode one of these times soon. And I put February 15th, and I've been talking about that for like 2 months. February 15th, it's going to be 2 weeks into the Chinese New Year. I mentioned that China owns 3 times as much crypto as US. And I just happen to think February 15th has been on my mind forever. So my point is when Bitcoin and crypto run, all right, they're going to run hard. It's not going to be like, oh, bump, little hold back, up, bump. It'll be like, okay, so it'll be like they pull back to 37,000 and then you see them bump up to 39 again, similar to what you saw the past week, okay? And then all of a sudden, in a 3-day period, and it might be like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to see Bitcoin pop. The first day, it'll be like $35,000 to $4,000. You'll be like, whoa, that is crazy. It's definitely going to come back. And you're going to hear people like, I can't wait for it to come back. I missed my opportunity to jump in or something like that. And then instead of coming back the next 2 or 3 day cycle, it's going to go up another 4,000 to 5,000. So within a course of maybe 8 to 10 trading days, and I think it's going to happen in February, I believe Bitcoin's going to go up like $9,000, okay? Which would be like what? Like a little over 23%, I guess, to that extent, 22. All right, let's get a couple questions. Let's do quick questions. All right, let's see. BEKE, of course, it's right. Where is it? I know, there it is. It's on my chart. All right, so I've mentioned this stock a lot. No, I mentioned this stock, and I'll pull it up on the chart because we have we have a couple more minutes before, we have 11 minutes before the market opens, and I don't want to hold you guys too long. So let me pull it up. Let me go to the 1 month chart, and let me add it to our screen here. Boom, and you can't see it, so let me move it down just a bit. All right, so now you can see BEKE, Chinese company, holding company. It tends to trade between like $18, which is here, and about $22. I guess it's 23, but I like to call the range 18 to 22 because it's safe. If I get in at 18 and out at 22, right, I'm making about 23% in stock. Options, I'm probably making well over 100%. So even when it's an outflow day, this stock tends to go higher when it's drifting with the market. It runs with the market. It doesn't necessarily run with inflow, outflow. Let's go back to a 3-month chart so you can see exactly what I mean. $18. Look at that. As high as 24. So it went above 22. I like to say 22, 22 and a half is the high. Then where did it go here? $18, $17.98, right? Then where did it go up to? $22.37. Again, what did we see? Heavy buying right here at $18. And then it went down even lower to $17.35, peaked $20. So $17 to $20. And then again, $17 all the way up to 23. And it's the greatest thing about this stock is if you miss it, there's always another valley. So no, I wouldn't be chasing this. This is extremely light volume. If the market does turn around, I mean, I only pick up this stock somewhere between, I didn't even get it at 17. I got it at like 18. So $18 to about $18.33. Okay. Those are my entry points. $18. Just say 18 to 18 and a quarter. My entry points. My exit strategy. If you're holding currently, yes, I'm going to hold BEKE through today because I'm probably going to get out at like 20, probably $23 today. If the market goes up. And again, pre-market's only 21.77. So if you're holding, that's another 5%. Yeah, if it's a green day in the market, again, that'll happen. But I'm looking for those new people or who missed it, I'm looking for the SPY to spike. Like, let's see where the SPY is right now. And we'll kind of end there and then we'll get one more question here. SPY. All right. Yeah, so it's kind of, the UVXY is down. The SPY is at 450.32. I'm expecting the SPY to spike at open $2 to $3. At that time, I'll buy 2 puts and I'll see. And again, if you missed it, go back to the beginning of the video because I spoke more about the SPY and what I'm looking to do. Because remember, it has to be confirmed. I'm not going to today saying the market's going down or up. I'm looking for the first movement, right? Because I make 2 predictions. If the SPY goes up, stops up at 10.14, then yes, it's probably going higher. However, if the SPY goes up, comes down low, misses about 50% of its morning gain already, right? And then continues on about 10.14 and drops again, then I think it's going down. All right, so AMD, this is great. I covered AMD with this 14-year-old trader, PB Investing. Dude is so smart for 14 years old. Started with a few $1,000s, now has multiple accounts of multiple thousand. Like, yeah, anyway. All right, so let me look at AMD. I do follow it, and there's demand. Why is there demand for AMD? Because it's a chip play. They're number 1 in the chip sector, right? AMD is number 1. It's a chip play. They've got gaming devices out and big money. Let me get rid of this other chart. And big money likes AMD. So if the market pushes higher, and again, it's going to be based on all these world events. If the Olympics go off with no problem and there's no headwinds in China, fine. If Russia draw down troops, that'd be amazing. The market's going higher. If the Fed comes out and confirms 25 basis points in March, strong for the market. If the dollar stays at 96 under 50, 96.32 it's at right now, under 96.50, strong for the market. And finally, the 10-year, which is spiking since I started talking, is now green. It was 174. Now it's 178. As the 10-year goes up, makes it more expensive in the market. So for my prediction to be right and the market to go down, yes, I would have to see a spike in the dollar, and the 10-year would probably have to spike even higher. I would need to see a dollar 1.80. When the 10-year, set your alerts, 10-year hits 1.80, know the markets, if they look frothy, might be a little too expensive. Now, again, look at PEs of stocks. I've mentioned this before. Comparing to some of the big players, the ones that have demand. So let's look at AMD real quick, and let's just see what the PE is on that one. Price per earnings at 35.37. Then you want to say, okay, let's look at STX, one of their competitors, right? Seagate Technologies, price per earnings 13.46, right? Their PE is a lot lower. What else? People like Micron, right? So let's look at Micron, also a smaller chip player. Their PE 12.72. Now, those PEs for chip companies sound like those that a bank would have. A bank would have somewhere between like 8 and 16, usually on the lower side. Defensive plays have lower numbers. If you look at like Lockheed Martin, probably a lower number. Raytheon, probably a lower number. But yeah, so I would rather be, if you ask about AMD, I'd rather be in Micron Technologies if I had to pick a chip stock right now. Western Digital came out, not so great earnings, so that would not be my favorite. Taiwan Semiconductor, too volatile being in Taiwan. I mean, you have China as your neighbor who wants to take you over. AMD, so AMD just being the number one is just, I hate being in the number one. I mean, I used to like to be in the best of the best, but now I look for what I consider value. So right now, PEs are what you want to look at. You know, and when stocks don't even have PEs and you're seeing them ride up, I would just be so cautious. All right, that was some good questions. You guys still have 5 minutes to get to the market. So go get to your phones. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys later.